I was just sitting there with a deep feeling of gratitude for this community that just appears, um, and for all of the practice that gets people here and the way that we sit with and for each other. So I was feeling really, really grateful for that. And also, just to everyone who participates and those offering talks and giving their time to manage the, to be a Zoom pilot and offer the room at the end and the porch. And it's like this happens through effort, through people's efforts, and I'm so grateful for that. And thank you, Joel, for last week. He was talking about the Bodhisattva check-in, which I thought was such a wonderful sort of rich concept, and I really liked the unpacking of it and the pointings to the ways that we can, we can segue it into kind of victim blaming, or we can just find ways to see how we're living right now. To imagine ourselves before birth and then as this embodied person in a particular place, in a particular time, in a particular body, in a particular setting, and to see the lives that we've made as an expression of all of the causes and conditions that have come together in this moment. And the suggestion that was to see our lives as an expression of the training for the Bodhisattva path, and an invitation to make big shadows. I thought that was a really gorgeous invitation. And it seems possibly, a real opening invitation to live fully into the lives we actually have. And after listening to Joel's talk, Josh and I talked about how we might approach this idea of our life as a training, with all the possibilities around privilege and victiming and all of those things that could ensue. And I was thinking about it, and I said, for me, it sort of feels like settling into just stopping resisting the life we've got. Just stopping resisting the actual life we have. And I know on many occasions Flint said that thing like, okay, okay, I kind of give in. I'll accept it. I'll accept my life. And as I was thinking about all of this, a kind of phrase came to me, which sometimes happens. They just sort of scoot in from somewhere, and a phrase came to me, which I'd like to share with you and explore this week. And it's be like the Buddha was before the Buddha was Buddha. Be like the Buddha was before the Buddha was Buddha. And as I was thinking about this kind of slightly odd sort of thing, I was thinking about when I was teaching Hakomi. We had some amazingly beautiful videos of Ron Kurtz, who was the sort of founder, working in groups with clients. And sometimes it was like watching a magician at work. He could be so amazing and perceptive, and almost like this magical ability to hone in on non-conscious embodied experiences. So, just pointing out someone doing something, and suddenly they'd be right close and into a deep core issue. He made it look easy. And we could learn so much, and I did learn so much from his presence, not just what he was doing, but what he wasn't doing. He did an effort, he didn't take things too seriously, he didn't take himself too seriously. He'd often break off to crack a joke. But that didn't mean he didn't take the client's suffering lightly. But he didn't buy it all either. It was very fascinating and interesting to watch someone so embedded in their approach, which he'd developed. And over time, I realized that I had something of a concern about sharing these videos with the students. And it was that he made it look easy. He just made it look easy, and people would be like, why can't I? I don't. All of the difficulties and problems that we meet in ourselves. And I thought he was a master practitioner, and what we didn't see was the years of missteps and reflections and conversations and dialogues with fellow practitioners and trying something and abandoning it. Trial and error, trial and error. The boredom he felt sometimes, or, the confusion or the discombobulation, like, I don't know what to do. And the time, the time, thousands and thousands of hours of working with clients. And so he was a master practitioner who knew the most about this method that with others he'd developed. So in so many ways, he was wonderful to learn from, and he wasn't a good role model. He was not a good role model. He was too far ahead. He was too damn good at what he did. And it was really hard to sort of get how you were going to get from here, stumbling along, to there. So my invitation in being like the Buddha before the Buddha was Buddha is to remember that everybody starts somewhere. We all start where we are. And the Buddha started with dissatisfaction. He abandoned his child, he left his parents, he left his rank and his role, and he wandered about for years. He wandered about lost in so many ways. He was so lost, he almost died. He didn't just get from A to B. He didn't do that, and we don't. I really liked at the beginning of Suzuki Roshi's new book, new to us, the public anyway. The point is to learn how to be yourself, how to be a person in the way that a stone is completely a stone. If I'm trying to be Ron or Flint or Peg or whoever I admire, I'm not necessarily fumbling my way towards being me, this me. Not a kind of ersatz other. And Joel used a really interesting phrase last week about a substitute person. That I'm going to be something else. If I'm trying to be the Buddha, then I'm not going to be just this Buddha. I'm going to be having a substitute life. I'm going to be having a substitute practice. And that felt very strong to me, that my practice is to be this Buddha, not any other one. And one of my favorite early books from my psychotherapy training was wonderfully called, I loved the title far more than I ever loved the book, but it was called If You Meet the Buddha on the Road, Kill Him, by Sheldon Kopp, and I can see some nodding like some of you know the book. The synopsis of which is, no meaning that comes from outside of ourselves is real. No meaning that comes from outside of ourselves is real. The Buddhahood of each of us has already been obtained. We only need to recognize it. The most important things that each person, must learn, no one can teach you. No one can teach you the most important thing to learn. Once you accept the disappointment, you will be able to stop depending on the therapist, the guru, who turns out to be just another struggling human being. So we become this struggling human being rather than some other struggling human being. In Becoming Yourself, the writers go on to say that Suzuki Roshi is clear about what being yourself doesn't mean. They say he doesn't mean perfecting your self-image or cultivating a unique style to broadcast. It's interesting, isn't it? That, what persona am I offering? It doesn't mean learning how to be who other people think you are, or even who you think you are or should be. He does not mean trying to get a handle on who you are. Don't try to figure out who you are. I have to say, after 30 years of therapy practice, I love that. I love it. Don't even try to figure out who you are. We're not a project that's going to have completion, an end point. We aren't going to get a handle on who we are. Not fully, of course. We can, waking up and growing up. We can get many handles. But we're not going to get the handle. And I find that a really liberating thought. And maybe, for some of you, it feels much more like a disaster. What you mean? I'm never going to find out who I am? But do you really think anybody is finally and fully figure-outable? As my understanding is that we have more neurons, more pathways in our brains than there are leaves in the Amazon forest. Do you really think you're going to cover that ground in our relatively short allotted time? You get to know one patch fairly well, if you're lucky. And as a therapist, I have worked with this conundrum for many years with many people, and where we think if we kind of work through the Russian dolls of our histories, of our conditioning, of our events, that we'll finally get to some little solid original self, the self we weren't allowed to be, the self we weren't allowed to express, or, not the one that we had to kind of create to meet the environments that we lived in. This original self that we would be, instead of this facsimile of a self that we've had to kind of patchwork together. We believe that there is an actual self we're going to be. Preferably one with a Buddha face. Preferably one that's kind of ideal and rather wonderful. Our original, ideal, untouched self. And within our Zen tradition, that personal, original, non-compromised, non-adapted face is not what's being pointed at. Be like the Buddha was before the Buddha was Buddha. Be like yourself. In Suzuki's book, it says just to sit expresses a traditional meditation practice of sitting still and upright on a black cushion. But in its wider sense, it's simply about opening to your life wherever you are. If you're in the woods, Suzuki Roshi teaches, just to sit is to appreciate the feeling of the woods, not the feeling of you in the woods, the feeling of the woods, which includes you. If you're in the kitchen or in the car, just to sit or becoming yourself is to appreciate the feeling of the kitchen or the car. If you are happy, it is to appreciate the feeling of happiness. If you are struggling, it is to appreciate and make room for the actual feeling of being alive with that struggle. So we can look at Buddha's life and we can think where those early activities failures, was all that searching, in vain? Was it a waste? Or could he, like us, only ever arrive at the point of awakening by trying and failing and becoming frustrated and maybe disillusioned? Can we find ways to welcome our experiences of not Buddha nature as the yearnings of our awakened mind? When you become yourself at that moment, your practice includes everything. Our way of sitting is to become yourself, and Katagiri Roshi always says to settle oneself on oneself, just to be yourself. In case 23 of the Mumonkan, in which the monk Myo, jealous that the sixth patriarch, Eno, has received the robe and bowl of their master, he chases him through the mountains and tries to take them by force. Eno places the robe on the ground and invites him to take them, but Myo finds they're too heavy to lift, and overwhelmed with shame, he asks to be given the teaching instead. And Eno responds, without thinking good or evil, in this very moment, what's your original face? And the question pierced his anger and his opinions about who the sixth patriarch could be. What's your original face? Not the one you create. What's that? Tammy Simons, who started Sounds True, a wonderful thing, amazing offering to the world, said, waking up is not about copying anyone or anything. It can't be, because as soon as we're mimicking something, we are recycling someone else's experience. Isn't that? I love that phrase. As soon as we're mimicking something, we're recycling someone else's experience. We're one step removed from the source. We are no longer rooted in our own moment-to-moment revelatory experience. She says, my basic point here is that the more we discover our own original face, is that discoverable? The face we had before we were born, the more confident we become in expressing ourselves in unique ways. In a sense, great spiritual teachers feel to me like great artists of the spirit. And like an inspired musician, poet, or painter, a spiritual artist knows that he or she must spend time in the space of not knowing, and then trusting the melodies, visions, words, and guidance that come through. So becoming ourselves, thinking about being with what might be our original face, isn't about uncovering this little kind of homunculus, this little self that belongs only to us, but is only a moment by moment expression of this life in this body, in these circumstances, flowing into this moment. And it looks like whatever it looks like. It looks mostly like you and me. And that can be pretty disappointing for some of us that are still really attached to our view of who we should be, or could be, or will be. Or, we keep flogging, we'll get there, when we're fully Buddhified. Suzuki Roshi says, when your practice is not good, you're a poor Buddha. And when your practice is good, you're a good Buddha. Poor and good are themselves Buddhas. Poor is Buddha and good is Buddha, and you are Buddha also. Whatever you think or say, every word becomes Buddha. I am Buddha, I is Buddha, and am is Buddha, and Buddha is Buddha. Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. Whenever you say, whatever you say is Buddha. There are no problems. There's no need to translate it into English, no need to be bothered with fancy explanations of Buddhism. If you say Buddha, 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 that's the way. Everything is Buddha. Sitting is Buddha, lying down is Buddha, each word is Buddha. That is our way, that is Shikantaza. So there was a beautiful commentary on this by Clark Strand on this lovely koan of our original face. And he says, what face did you have before your parents were born? The question isn't hard. It's like asking a sunflower what it was before it was a sunflower, or the wind before it was wind. A true Zen master never asks to see something that isn't already there. And then he says there's another way of saying it. Millions of years ago, a snub-nosed fish roamed the watery shelf below the continents, wearing a face that had been passed down to it by countless species through deep time. That fish passed its face to amphibians, and amphibians passed it to reptiles. Reptiles passed it to mammals, and mammals passed it down in exact accordance with the Dharma from the great apes to Australopithecus, I think, and from Australopithecus to Homo habilis, and from Homo habilis to Homo erectus, and from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, and from Homo sapiens to Homo sapiens sapiens, who became so sapient or wise that they discarded it, or tried to, because really, how can you throw away your own face? So I like to end with a poem by Fred LaMotte. My Ancestry DNA results came in, just as I suspected. My great-great-grandfather was a monarch butterfly. Much of who I am is still wriggling under a stone. I'm part larva, but part hummingbird too. There is dinosaur tar in my bone marrow. My golden hair sprang out of a meadow in Palestine. Genghis Khan is my fourth cousin, though I didn't get the dimples. My loins are loaded with banyan seeds from Sri Lanka, but I descended from Ravanna, not Ram. My uncle is a mastodon. There are traces of white people in my saliva. 3.7 billion years ago, I swirled in golden dust, dreaming of a planet overgrown with lingams and yonis. More recently, say 60,000 BC, I walked on hairy paws across a land bridge, joining Sweden to Botswana. I am the bastard of the sun and moon. I can no longer hide my heritage of raindrops and cougar scat. I am made of your grandmother's tears. You conquered rival tribesmen of your own colour, chained them together, marched them naked to the coast, and sold them to colonials from Savannah. I was that brother you sold. I was a slave trader. I was the chain. Admit it. You have wings, vast and golden, like mine, like mine. You have sweat, black and salty, like mine, like mine. You have secrets silently singing in your blood, like mine, like mine. Don't pretend the earth is not one family. Don't pretend we never hung from the same branch. Don't pretend we don't ripen on each other's breath. Don't pretend we didn't come here to forgive. And at a time like we're in now, don't pretend that the earth is not one family. Don't pretend that we never hung from the same branch. Don't pretend we don't ripen on each other's breath. Don't pretend we didn't come here to forgive. So, thank you all for sitting with me. I'm so appreciative. And if anybody would like to come and meet, I'd appreciate that too. A fly has just joined me. I'm not sure if you can hear it. Cassie.
Hi, Trudy.
Hi.
Love that poem and everything that you brought forward. When it said grandfather was a monarch butterfly, when my dad passed, And I was walking to the car to get Mom together to go to the funeral. His truck was parked in front of mine, and there was maybe 40 butterflies lined up along the tailgate. And I don't know if it was during the season of monarchs moving, but for months I saw butterflies.
Mhm.
And 14 something years later, every time I see a butterfly, I think of him. Um, and I like that idea of transformation within a butterfly. There was, can't remember who it was, but it was one of the old things. And the monk was saying, am I a human dreaming I'm a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming I'm a human? Do you know the real words of that? But it was that. Um, and there's such light creatures.
Mm.
Um,
Like you.
ah, well, thanks. That's not my core belief. um,
But why do they speak to you?
why do
You
they
know,
speak to me?
what is it?
They're
Yeah.
freedom and change, and how those two are linked. Um, hmm,
And how that possibility is endlessly there in you.
yeah. The I love this the vertical red thread, is I don't know what I I want to say that, like, I enjoy it, but I I want not pull on it, but tug on it.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to wrench it violently from something, but I like the trail. I fell in love with the trail.
The trail wants you to follow it,
Yeah,
so you don't have to tug,
and you don't have to tug.
because you're leaving a trail too.
Yeah. Hmm. I saw, oh wow. I teared up a little bit.
Hmm. Why don't you just stay there a moment?
I saw on Instagram a meditation offering here in Arlington.
Ah,
And the idea of sitting with people in person is touching me.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you could go and offer them your body.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful to be with you.
Yeah. Thank you. Hmm. Lynn, there you are.
I'd love to sit next to you, Cassie. And all of you, all of those who I haven't sat next to. And I've sat next to you, Trudy,
Many years, Lynn.
many years. I've been with my cousin this week, who is an evolutionary biologist.
Hmm.
And she's just made a quilt, which is the development of the embryo. And what blew me away was how in the beginning of the process, we're all just these cells, and so are birds, and so is everything. And how we all develop in the same way. And the magic of it.
And how much we mimic, that growing fetus, how much it mimics all the different kinds of life. There's something that's really extraordinary about that.
It's just astonishing, and that every embryo forms in the same way. And I think because I was sitting with her and she's a scientist and she understands all of the processes, it was like seeing life with very clear eyes.
How we all start.
We all start.
Where we start.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything that lives.
Everything that lives.
And I love the poem. So we are the monarch butterfly, and we are.
Yeah.
And we're not something special.
No.
And we're something extraordinary. And
yeah. I can see you just really being with that. Oddly, sort of the mundane magnificence of it, it's like everybody throughout the whole of history has started in the same way. And we're all made from the same stuff that's been here forever.
yeah. Speechless. Speechless with wonder. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. It's a good place to be, isn't it? Speechless with wonder. Kathy.
Yeah, Trudy, you just said something that made me look at something else that I had written down totally differently. You said something like in the womb, the fetus is mimicking all other, and then I had the thought, I don't know how to say it exactly, that aren't we always recycling someone else's experience?
Yeah.
We are, and yet we can put a judgment on that, it based on, I think, maybe trying to control life and intention that, oh, you're just, recycling someone else's experience, but we are recycling someone else's experience. We're one vast recycling. Oh, I don't know. This just occurred to me, so I don't have my thoughts well formed about this.
But it can only be recycled like Kathy.
Right.
So there is that. We are endlessly, all the words that I've read, all the people I've met. When I was sitting earlier, I was feeling so grateful for all the clients I've worked with and all my supervisees and how much I've learned from them. And I couldn't pick out all the strands, but it's like they're all in me, but there's only me that can express it like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's only you that can express
Mm-hmm.
like this.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, so and so it just opened everything up for me when I thought of that.
Mm. Yeah, we're just made.
Right.
We're made of the rest of life, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, it's wondrous. It's truly
Yeah,
wondrous. So
yeah.
thank you. I wanted to say that
Oh,
when it
thank
came
you.
to me. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Mm. Jess.
Hi, Trudy. I'm just so warmed by this talk, and I wanted to share that, because we're also working on this paramita of joyful effort. I've been doing a lot of reading and studying about joyful effort, which sounds funny actually as I say it, but I dreamt last night, I think because of just such a deeply soaking in it. I dreamt that I was sitting in our daughter's house that she just moved out of.
Mm.
And it was present day, so there were new people there. It was almost like I was a fly on the wall. But I was seeing the ripples of our our influence on the place. And I saw the people that are currently there enjoying this house that we made better while she was there. And then I saw her group of friends that lived there for several years, and everyone that touched, and it just it's undescribable joy that
Mm.
came to me in my dream. And I thought, that is effort that was so joyful. All
Mm.
that, every moment I would do again and again in every lifetime. And the feeling of we can't know our wake, like your poem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sounds so similar to what you're speaking to today as well. So I just wanted to say thank you for once
Mm.
again touching that deep place in
Mm.
me.
And just that beautiful image of, you know, the homes we create, whether that's bricks and mortar or just the people we've touched with our presence, and, the way that just ripples out and we have no clue. We might have little, someone might tell us something, but, well, that's extraordinary, isn't it?
It is, and it's a different way of looking at the original face.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I wrote during, uh, I wrote a poem called Decorating a 100-Year-Old House, because our house is 100 years old. Um, and it was about that sense of like, I'm doing this, but I'm doing this on top of all the people who did this before me, and at some point we won't live here, and because it's a 100-year-old house, it'll probably keep standing, and I'm in the walls now, as are all the people who were in the walls before me.
We are the ancestors.
We are the ancestors. We are the ancestors, and that's a deeply touching thought.
Yeah, thank you so much, Trudy.
Mhm. Thank you. I'm just looking at the screen and I'm just feeling like I'm sitting with butterflies and mastodons and cougar scat. Just like here we all are making up this extraordinary world with our own extraordinary, ordinary lives. And I'm so grateful for this coalescence, this little moment in time where people come together to share and be with each other. And that's very beautiful to me. Sophie?
I want to thank you, of course, but Kathy as well, because I thought there was such a relief for me in the idea that we're copying everybody all the time, There's something that we're not the original, whatever the original is, and there's something really freeing about that,
I can see you look like your tail's wagging.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So then I don't need to try to think about who I am. I can just be. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, if you stop trying to find this real you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why for? It's just going to be expressed anyway, so why bother? I like
That
it.
doesn't
Really.
exist.
It's wonderful.
Ah,
So thank you so much, the two of you.
I love that, freedom often just looks like how ridiculous we are.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm. Mm.
Thank you.
Mm.
Mountain Bell.
Oh, I made a mistake again.
Oh
Sorry.
no, stay. Be Mountain Bell.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mm.
Mhm.
So let's share together. I wish I could hear your voices. I sort of imagine them in my head, but I'll hear mine and carry yours with me. So, caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. So thank you all for being here. Deep gratitude, and thanks to Jess for being the monitor, and I hand over to her now. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. It's so beautiful to see all of you. Thanks for being here and supporting our broad Sangha across the world. Appamada's programs and Justice programs, all of our Sangha's programs are here because of you. So thank you so much for your support and your generosity. And if you'd like to stay, Ed will be helping out with the porch today. So please stay and have a chat with Ed. Thank you all.